Everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I thought that today would be a good day. I'm not even going to change my clothes. I already made a video in the same outfit, and I'm making another video right now because all of my kids, like I have a busload of kids. Both of my kids are with their father right now. Caleb is doing soccer. Jack is with Jay. They're all going together. I've been really sick, so they're just kind of leaving me to my own private couple hours to myself to just have some peace. I put some makeup on because I wanted to try and make myself feel better, and I thought I would just take the opportunity while I'm home alone to make some videos for you guys. One video that I think is really important is just introducing myself and kind of giving you a background of who I am. I've made a couple of videos like this before, and I've kind of explained a little bit about my history and why I am a nurse practitioner, why I got into healthcare, who I am, and why I am the person that I am today, I guess. And I mean, I've grown a lot of subscribers. I can't believe there's already almost 6,000 people that have subscribed to this channel. It blows my mind. So thank you so much for subscribing if you have subscribed. And if you haven't, I hope that you will in the future, because it's really, really sweet. I really feel very moved that there are so many people that care at all about what I have to say. Obviously, majority of what I put on here is educational content. I love nursing. I love being a nurse practitioner, and I love teaching and learning and sharing and all these things. This really is a huge component of who I am. But if you don't know, there's a reason why there is a why for me as to why I chose to get into healthcare. And I'm sure everybody has their own why. And I love to hear people's stories of why they chose to get into healthcare, because truly for me, I do feel like it's a calling. They're doing some construction outside, I guess. Don't get me wrong. There are many days where I honestly do feel like quitting. I do get fatigued and burnout from working in healthcare. It can be a very trying career. Sometimes you feel, very unappreciated, and it can just kind of wear you down. But overall, when I think about quitting or leaving healthcare, I honestly can't imagine doing anything else at all whatsoever. I just can't see it. So I know this is where I'm meant to be. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you saw that I made a post just recently kind of talking about resilience and how anything great comes from resilience. And so my whole life, I've had to be very resilient. And I'm not trying to brag or boast about, what I've gone through, but but the fact of the matter is that what I've gone through has made me who I am today. And it's what's encouraged me to work in healthcare. So when I was 2 years old, I started to have stiffening in my neck. I was tilting my head a lot, and they thought what I had was torticollis, which is just muscular. They sent me to physical therapy, and it didn't improve. And then I started to have weakness on my left side, and eventually I woke up one day basically limp and paralyzed, and I was rushed to the hospital where they did an MRI, and they found that I had a tumor in my spinal cord from C4 to T6. So I was like 2.5 at the time or something like that. My parents were very young. My mom and dad were, I think, 19 and 21 when they had me. So very young, very naive to obviously a spinal cord injury. Of course I was too. I mean, it's a huge life-altering event. So I went in, and they found this spinal cord tumor from C4 to T6. It was benign. It was not cancerous, but regardless, the location of it is what made it so complicated. And so it wasn't sure if I would live. They weren't sure if I would walk anymore, or, the extent if I would have paralysis or what would happen. So they pumped me up with a bunch of steroids and antibiotics, and then I was stable enough to go into surgery. I think it was a 9-hour surgery, and they removed the tumor from my spinal cord, and then they actually fused my spine. So my mobility is very limited in my neck because of the fused spine. So anyways, when I came out of surgery, I showed remarkable progress. I was already moving my hands. I was trying to sit up, but it did result in partial paralysis on my left side. So I basically have like drop foot on my left side. I don't have that dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. I can't move my ankle at all. And so I do have to use different devices to help assist me to walk. That being said, otherwise, I came out pretty okay considering. I mean, I have scoliosis and hip rotation and some other musculoskeletal differences because my body and how it has to accommodate for what it's gone through. But yeah, I mean, I live a full life. I have children, I work, I play, I'm active, I do all the things. But I mean, I would be lying if I said that a lot of things weren't a little bit more difficult for me than probably you or someone else, unless you have a spinal cord injury, and then it may not be. Obviously, spinal cord injuries are on a spectrum. And so I get lost in the mix sometimes because it's hard. I mean, I guess by all correct terminology, I do have a disability, but I just don't see myself in that way. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's something called ableism, which I've read about, or if it's just, like, you'll never see me use a handicap parking spot or anything like that. I know that I can walk. I know that I can do all the things, even if there's a little bit more pain, even if it's a little bit more difficult, like I'm just going to do it, and I can do it. I think there's nothing wrong with experiencing pain too. Sometimes it seems like so many people want to just not feel anything, not feel pain, not feel sickness. And I mean, I have chronic pain because of this, but I don't take anything for it, and I just manage it and I live. And again, I'm not bragging about it or anything like that. That's just like my personality and who I am. It's who I am. I don't know. I don't have an answer. But by all terminology, I guess I do have a disability, I guess. What is wrong with me? But I mean, I feel like I live a full life. And that's not to say that any other disabled person doesn't live a full life. So I think this is something that's ingrained in my mind, and I have to learn to kind of come to grips with, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. So regardless, so that experience left me at a lot of hospital visits. So I had MRIs, basically, like, I don't know, weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, every 6 months, every year, every couple years. Lots and lots of follow-up MRIs, lots of physical therapy. I did have to relearn how to walk. I did have to learn how to feed myself again, and all of these things. Again, like I said, I think I was just turning 3 at this point when I was relearning everything. And, children are so resilient. I'm sure if something like this would have happened to me now, it would have been a lot more difficult, but I snapped back. I did really well. Thankfully, all big thanks to, the doctors and the nurses and everyone that took care of me. They did a wonderful job. And I mean, I really was a success story. But my growing up was not the norm. I mean, there's just no way to put, no other way to put it. I was always a minority wherever I went. I was always different from everybody else. And I knew it, and they knew it. And it really it was hard when I was younger. Now I wear it like a badge of honor. But being young and having a disability is very difficult. Kids can be very mean. And so I remember it being hard sometimes. But I was a tough little cookie, let me tell you. Like, nobody was going to tell me that I couldn't do something. I was going to learn how to ride a bike. I was going to be a cheerleader. I was going to do all the things, and I was going to do it, and no one could tell me otherwise. And I mean, I definitely think that my resilience and my strength is what took me so far in life. Not that I'm like anywhere great. I mean, I'm just kind of like a normal person. But I mean, I could have gone a different direction with what I had been through and my life, but I didn't. I took it, and I was going to prove a lot of people wrong that didn't think that I'd be able to do stuff or be able to be successful. And I wanted to prove myself wrong because I definitely had a lot of doubts in myself too. But so I grew up different, and I went to the doctors a lot. And then when I was 17 years old, I had a lump that I discovered on my neck. I went in, they did an ultrasound. They said it was most likely nothing. They ended up having to do a biopsy, so they took a sample from that, which was really kind of traumatic when I was 17 years old. And it came back cancerous. And so they removed, it came back as that I had thyroid cancer. So they removed half my thyroid. I did radioactive iodine and then radiation. And they sent off a sample to pathology, and they determined that they had to go back in and remove the remaining part of my thyroid. So I currently have nothing. You can see my scar there. I do not have a thyroid at all. I do take hormone supplements. I take levothyroxine, Synthroid. I'm sure you're familiar. We've all seen it on tons of people's medication list. I take that as well. And so, yeah, that was, I mean, as far as cancer goes, it's a pretty easy cancer. But I was 17, and, being 17, you're kind of like, I don't know. I was a mess. So I decided to drop out of high school, take off to Florida with my boyfriend at the time, and make a lot of really bad decisions. And for like the following 3 years, I kind of just was making just a lot of self-deprecating decisions and choices, and I really didn't see much of a future for myself. I was down, and I developed a very bad panic disorder. I struggled with, initially it started with like spaces closing on me, and everywhere I would go, I was always concerned of where the exit was, and I always imagined the worst thing possible. Like I was going to pass out in a crowd, or there was going to be a fire that started and I wouldn't be near the exit and I'd have a harder time getting to the exit. I was always concerned with escaping and being trapped places. I don't know if this is like PTSD from all the MRIs and some other crap that happened to me in my past or what, but I definitely struggled with feelings of trappedness. And it led to basically a period in my life of agoraphobia. I almost couldn't leave my bedroom. I remember thinking, like, what's the point if I can't even leave my bedroom? Like, what's the point of living? And that's really depressing to think about. And I don't even think I had moments of depression, but it really wasn't. I was panicking. I could not control my panic. And so this was just another hurdle that I had to go through in my life. And I took it, for 3 months, I don't think I really left my bedroom except for to go to the bathroom. I would eat in my bedroom. I just only felt safe there. And I had to take it in very small increments. Leaving the house, I would sit on the porch, and I remember all the sounds. Everything was very overstimulating, and I'd have to go back inside, and everything felt like it was always closing in, and I always felt trapped. That was the overarching theme. Luckily, I knew enough to know that I had to go and ask for help, so I went to my primary care doctor. It was so hard, not only leaving my house to do this. I had my mom take me because I could not drive. I'm sitting in that room with the door shut. I was having a panic attack, waiting to tell my doctor that I was having panic attacks. And she could see it for sure. And you can't hide it. When someone's having a true panic attack, I would try to hide it. I would try to hold everything in, but I'd be pale and sweating and not really make a lot of sense because I was just having such a hard time focusing on the questions that were being asked. Because really all I wanted to do was leave the room, go home, and be in my safe space. But she definitely could tell that I was struggling. And so I went on some medication. I went on Zoloft, and I've been on that literally ever since. I'm still on Zoloft today. I've tried getting off of it twice, and the panic attacks came back. So that's cool. I don't know if I'm just like a lifer now or what, and I could talk about it very openly now, but when I was really in the thick of it, I could not talk about it at all because it would trigger events for me. So it basically took the medicine, of course, like a month to really take full effect. I started to feel a little bit better over the next couple weeks. And then by a month, I would say I was leaving my house again, which was a huge, huge step in the right direction. Driving took me a really long time to come back around to because I was always worried that I'd be stuck in like a turning lane and I'd have a panic attack and I couldn't leave. Like I honestly thought, would I turn my car off and just get out of the car and walk out of my car? I don't know. It's irrational. Panic attacks are really irrational, but I've had these thoughts in my mind. Once I was on Zoloft for like a month, I stopped having those thoughts, and I started to realize that even if worst case scenarios happened, so be it. You can't spend so much time dwelling on worst case scenarios because you only get one life, and you need to just go out and live it and enjoy it, because what's the point otherwise? And so medicine for me really allowed me to think a little bit more clearly, because when I was in the throes of my panic attacks, I could not think like that. I was so wound up and so hyper focused on worst case scenarios, I could not function. So Zoloft helped me function. So thanks, Zoloft. And honestly, and I tell patients this to this day, I've had physical health problems, and I've had mental health problems. And I stand by it that mental health is more difficult to tackle because your mind is just so powerful. And so that was a very, very, very hard time in my life. There was just a couple years of just very, very dark times. Once I was properly medicated and once I started moving on with my life, I did get my high school diploma equivalent. It was similar to like a GED. It was online. It was like through something called Excel High School. I did it all online, and I got my high school diploma equivalent. And then, of course, I went to a community college. And then from there, I transferred to university. And I got 2 bachelor's and a master's degree at the university. Well, 2 different universities, but that doesn't matter. If you would have known me, I was in elementary school, in middle school, and high school. I was always smart. I mean, I'm not bragging, but I was smart. But nobody ever took the time to really sit down with me and see what was going on. I was absent all the time because I was sick a lot, and I went to a lot of doctor's visits, and I just didn't like school. I was bullied a little bit. Yeah, I mean, kids are assholes. And so, yeah, I just didn't like school. When I went to college, I loved it. I found who I was, and I slowly started to love myself. And I had passions, and I knew that I wanted to get into healthcare. And so this was something that like I always toyed with growing up. Like I thought I wanted to be a surgeon, or something, I don't know, something extravagant. And I really just had a passion for medicine. And then I started to realize that maybe my passion came from my empathy from being a patient for so many years. It didn't really click until I was a little older that I really had this unique perspective on things being the patient for so many years. And now in my practice, I mean, it's very glaringly obvious that I am able to connect with patients in a unique way because of my experiences in being in healthcare and being a patient and being in the bed versus standing at the bedside. I mean, it's very different, and you're very vulnerable as a patient. And it's not to say I don't have my moments where I am just burnt out, because I still feel burnout. Like I'm not immune to it. I still get frustrated with patients. I still get verbally abused by patients sometimes, and it is what it is. Like it's the world we live in. But overall, I would say my empathy is very strong towards patients because I have been there. And so I just think it's a unique take on things, being that I now work in healthcare and I get to help others. And I honestly feel like it's a calling. Like I already said this in the beginning, but I try to think of, because I have these moments where I'm like, forget it. I want to do something different. Real estate or something, I don't know. But I can't even fathom doing anything besides healthcare. It is truly my passion. And the cool thing about healthcare is that there really are so many avenues that you can take. Of course, I decided to go on and get my master's, and that's because I was really burned out on bedside nursing, and that was one of the best decisions that I could have made for myself. I questioned it a lot along the way, like if there was, going to be a job available for me, if it was the right decision, but it definitely was, because I found it reignited some passion I have in healthcare. And when I'm tired of this and when I feel burnout from working in urgent care, there's a million other options out there for me. And so I'll never not be a nurse. I'm a nurse first, or a nurse practitioner or whatever, but I love working in healthcare. And I really actually do enjoy sharing my story with other people, because I think it's good to show people struggles, because we all are struggling. And I guess that's a big part of this video, is I have learned along the way, because growing up, you're very self-involved, and I really didn't realize how much of the world I was really focused on my struggles and my trials. Now that I'm pretty good about who I am and confident in the person that I am, I've really been able to step out of the box and look at other people, and I've learned that those are my struggles, but everybody has struggles. Everybody has trials. They might not be as visible as mine, but everybody has their own struggles. And so if you can use what you've been through to help others, I think that's a really, really great way to take a crappy situation and turn it into something good. And I like to think that's what I've done because granted, of course, it's sucks. Like it would have been way cooler had I not had a spinal cord injury or thyroid cancer or dropped out of high school, all this stupid stuff that I went through. But I think back on it and I'm like, but you wouldn't be who you are had you not gone through those things. I don't know who I would be had I not gone through those things. And so I don't regret it. It wasn't easy, and I realized that, and it made me who I am. And whatever your struggles are, definitely have made you who you are. So I just thought I would share with you guys a little bit of background of who I am and why I am the way that I am and why I chose to get into healthcare. And I just think it's kind of an interesting story. You see my face here on this video all the time, but you don't really, I don't get to really share with you who I am. It's hard to share who I am in just a few minute video. But because I have so many people on here that I'm starting to connect with, which I love this community. It's been such a uplifting experience. I want you to know me a little better. And yeah, I mean, I would be lying to you if I told you that I was just some normal girl. I'm not. I've been through a lot. And I mean, really, that's only scratching the surface, to be completely honest with you. But I've been through a lot, and I know that you've probably been through a lot too. I know that this is not only me. We all have our own struggles. We all have our own trials. And yeah, if you want to share any of your stories down below, like why you got into healthcare, why you got into nursing, I would be really interested to read those. I'm always just really interested in hearing other people's journeys and other people's stories. So if you want to, definitely leave it in the comments down below because I'm interested to read those. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you got to learn a little bit more about me and why I chose healthcare. And then my journey, as you know, I was an emergency nurse for 4 years. I did float pool for a year. Predominantly, I was in the ICU, and then they started sending me to PCU for like the last 3 months of my 1 year in the float pool. I was at the PCU pretty much every shift, and honestly, that is what made me just done with bedside nursing. It was unbelievable, the high acuity of these patients and the ratio of these patients. I have 6-7 patients. Some would be on a vent, some would be on a CPAP machine. The PCU was just a real eye-opener to me and how I could not continue on with bedside nursing. And then, of course, now you know I am a nurse practitioner. I've worked in urgent care for the last year. I meet all different people, all different types of people all the time. And I do love my job, and I'm excited to see where my journey will continue to take me, and I'm excited to meet more people along the way. So definitely share your stories with me, please. Seriously, if you have something cool, if you have something cool story about why you chose nursing, leave it down below. I want to read it. Until next time, of course, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, learn something new every day, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.